Hi, welcome to Small Scale Warfare. My name is Blake, and today I'm going to be painting my first Warhammer Mini in quite a few years. It's been a while. So, the first thing I'm going to have to do is find instructions, because I have the sprues, but I don't have the instructions anymore. My wife and I have moved a couple times since I started painting, so let's just hope I can find them online. So we're gonna get them cut out, primed, painted, we'll see how it goes. So today, we will be making a Hellblaster Space Marine, and like I said, I needed to find the instructions, and thanks to bitstore.com, I was able to find a full PDF online. Now, it's been a few years since I painted or even built anything, and even then it was just a handful of minis, maybe 7 or 8. Back then I didn't know anything about thinning paints, brush control, or really anything that was more than just putting paint on a brush and then adding that to a model. So after watching countless YouTube videos, I believe I will be able to do a far better job than anything I'd painted in the past. So here, I cut out the pieces off the sprues using my Citadel nippers. I have some god hands that I use once the piece is cut out, just to get a closer cut and try to keep from using my X-Acto knife as much as possible. Also, something I learned from my Gundam days was to clip the piece as far away as possible and as close to the sprue as possible to keep from getting stress marks, and then clean it up with the knife or the god hands. Once I get the pieces cut out and cleaned up, I have some god hand sanding strips that I'm using, and these are 2000 grit and they are fantastic. My only complaint is that I wish they were thinner. I suppose I could just trim them down, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. Next, once I get all the pieces cut out, cleaned up, it's time to move on to the actual assembly stage. With this, I use some plastic cement. This stuff essentially melts the pieces together and creates one strong piece. Whew! Forgot how strong this stuff was. Now we have everything assembled. I forgot to record adding some of the bits, but that's okay. I know not everyone wants to see such long form videos. We're around 3 minutes in, and we haven't even started to paint yet. Next, we prime the model. Here I used a satin black. I thought it was matte, but this should work just fine. Now I'm going to go ahead and apologize. I did not realize autofocus was on, so me moving my hand in front of the camera didn't really work out too well. We'll get it next time. Starting off with a base coat of Macragge Blue, I thinned this down probably quite a bit more than I should have, and I applied 2 thin coats. Now, I want to stress this very much. This is by no means a tutorial. This is just me trying to get back into this hobby, so I would probably not follow anything I do in this video. Now once we let the base coat dry, I go through with the exact same color and I try to clean up some spots that I missed. After that, I decided to use a shade from Citadel called Nuln Oil. Now, whenever you're using this, you need to be very careful with it, because if you use too much, it can pull up and it can look very splotchy and give a coffee stain kind of not good look that you want. So once you let the Nuln Oil sit for about 45 minutes and really let it dry, I go back in and I start doing highlights. Or so what I thought was highlighting. It's my first time ever doing this, so cut me just a little bit of slack. But I think it turned out pretty good, and what I did was use the McCrag Blue as the base coat and added just a dot of white. Now looking back, this probably wasn't the best idea. I probably should have just used a different color entirely, but I don't have many colors at the moment to choose from, so that's the best option I have right now. While I'm highlighting, I just want to talk a little bit about my video setup here. I know some of this is going to be a little hard to see. I didn't have my lighting set up in the most optimal way. I will be doing this better in future videos. Right now this is just kind of a test run. So it will get better in the future, I promise. Right now we just kind of have to deal with it as is. So again, I apologize for that, but it will get better. Next we are moving on to metallics. Now for this one I'm using Lead Belcher from Citadel, and I'm using it straight out of the pot. I'm not thinning this down. I probably should have, but I heard that on a wet palette you're not supposed to use metallics, and I didn't really have another option at the moment in front of me, so I just decided to use it straight out of the pot, and I'm trying to do this as thinly as possible to preserve every detail that I can. Once the weapon is done, we're going to do some other small details on the backpack. I think these are vents, or I'm not really 100% what they are, but I'm going to use the same Lead Belcher straight out of the pot. Once the metallics are complete, we're going to start using some Abaddon Black. Now I'm going to thin this down quite a bit on my wet palette, and this is going to be used for the joints and the armor, I guess what would be considered an undersuit, and we're just going to go through and get that as cleanly as possible. Okay, I lied. We're going back to metallics just for a minute. We're going to be doing Retributor armor from Citadel for the gold, and it's going to be on the chest and on the trim of the shoulder pads. And with this, again, I'm using it straight out of the pot because I don't want to thin it down on my wet palette, because I think the particles or the fine little metal bits will get down in my sponge, and I don't want that to be, leaking into other paints. Now at this point, unfortunately, I do not know why, but me finishing up the weapon and doing the eyes, two of the things I really wanted to get recorded, I have them on my phone where I recorded them, but I cannot get them onto my computer. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I can't get them, but unfortunately, it's not happening. And I did a really, what I think is a cool glow effect on the gun. I wanted to show that process. It turned out okay, but I'm going to be showing the final result here in just a second. But thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.